with all of these techniques. That is my personality right up until the age of 32. So very quiet, very shy, lacking in confidence, very low self-esteem. And I contemplated suicide in September 2000. So a month before I ended up on that personal development training. So I always say to people, I didn't do a Lady Gaga. I wasn't just born this way in terms of all the things I now enjoy doing. I was terrified of public speaking right up until the age of 32, could barely speak to my own family. So the reason I'm so passionate about personal development, and I know that it can and does work, is because not only did I use it for myself, I then used it for the thousands of clients that I've worked with over the years. So let's get into the Ho'oponopono, also called the forgiveness process. Now, there are two, I'm going to say there's probably more than that, but commonly there are two different types of Ho'oponopono that are in the public domain. One is what I call the social media Ho'oponopono, the social media words. I'm sorry, I love you, please forgive me, thank you. And then there's the version that I was taught when I went out to Hawaii. And I went, the first time I went out was in 2005. And then I went out again to do my level 2 training in 2009. Never came across the social media words, because the process that we were taught was what I call the full-on version with the stage and the Avaiku and the Arca connections and the Huna symbols and all of that stuff. I didn't see the words until many, many, many years later. And I think they started circulating around the time the movie The Secret came out, when Joe Vitale started talking about it. So whichever one you use, absolutely fine. I know people have had wonderful results with the social media words. So if you use them, keep using them. They're great. It's just not the version that I was taught when I went out to Hawaii. So the version I learned in Hawaii is what we are going to be looking at today in this segment. So Ho'oponopono, the forgiveness process. Start thinking now about who or what you want to cut ties and connections with. I say who or what because when I'm doing this with my clients one-to-one, the invitation I extend to them is to bring to the stage, and I'll talk to you about stage in a few moments, bring to the stage people, places, situations, organizations, institutions, inanimate objects. Let's just say somebody's having trouble with their car, or in my case, my skybox a few years ago. That was just hilarious. But whatever it is, bring it to the stage. So start thinking now, what do you want to bring to the stage? And what you may want to do is cycle back to some of the things we've spoken about in part 1 and part 2, in terms of things you were clearing. What came up when you were looking at the past life aspects? So if you wrote those down, we're putting them into a Word document so you can cut and paste them into the chat and the Q&A for the bits that you're sharing. Have a look at those, remind yourself, because those are the things that you are going to consciously invite onto the stage. And I say consciously because we also leave the room for the energetics, because you're not always, because if we had try and do it consciously, if people invariably, we get to the end of the people, oh my God, I didn't remember this and I didn't remember that and I forgot this and I forgot that. And they get into a whole big sort of panicky thing. So I'm like, relax, chill, calm down. We start the process consciously, and then we ask our inner mind. And in the case of Huna, working with the higher self, and saying also invite onto the stage anything and anyone else who is relevant. So you can relax and chill, but I'm just saying consciously think about the first people, places, things you want to invite onto the stage. Then cutting the ties and connections does not mean you're cutting someone off or cutting them out of your life. What it means is we're cleaning up the connections. So the premise of this, when we're out in Hawaii, is they're talking about the energetic connection that you have with anything and everyone that you come into contact with. So everything on my desk, I potentially have an Arca connection with, some stronger than others, because like this right here, this brain, I have a massive, massive Arca connection with this because I talk about it a lot. I teach photo reading, the accelerated learning, how to photo read at 25,000 words per minute, get through whole books in 5 minutes, strategies to remember and recall what you read, how to activate left and right brain. So this travels around with me a lot. And when it's not traveling with me, it's sitting right there on my desk, because I'm also running a lot of things online. So I have quite a very strong connection with this. Something else that I haven't picked up for a while